The holiday season brings out painful memories and traumatic events for four disenchanted New Yorkers. Can the interventions of Robin Williams' Force Ghost and a lovelorn Alan Arkin be their salvation? We find out as we watch Noël, our last movie of the year, today on Noël Thing Movies. I remember that because Sherry and I would watch, the Star Trek Discovery show, and it was exclusive to
It's just
CBS.
called All Access?
I think it's CBS All Access.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How lazy can you get?
I don't know. Paramount sold Disney's Plus. With Paramount Plus.
I don't know. So
That's pretty lazy.
Be like CBS squared. Or,
CBSS.
CB to the power of S divided by 4 plus.
That's a free tip
That's
for you, CBS.
For you. You can take that.
That's for you, Les Moonves.
You can take it to the bank.
I think that's the guy who runs CBS.
Is it?
I only know that because of
Julie Chen Moonves, his wife.
No, I picked that up from 30 Rock.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
That's NBC though.
Well, they take digs at CBS every once in a while.
Fair enough.
With the moon vest.
Yeah, and there's a hobo outside the office, and he wears a vest that's covered in moons.
This is the content that you're tuning in for. By the way, welcome back.
Mm-hmm.
However you wish to self-identify to Noël Thing Movies.
Noël Thing Movies.
Is that what we landed on?
Yeah, it's
seamless.
This rolls off the tongue, doesn't it?
It does. we toyed with that, and you also brought up
Nothing Yuleys.
Yeah, no, we made the right choice.
What if we combine the two? Noël Thing Yuleys?
No, the show would be over.
Okay.
We would be canceled. We would never be able to.
We would be canceled.
We would be canceled as people.
All right.
The show would continue, but we would be canceled as people if that happened.
I'll just become a shut-in.
And this show is the show where we ask the question, the fuck is this? And it's the podcast where we go through an actor's filmography and we choose the most anonymous and culturally untalked about movies that they've made and decide whether or not they've got a certain something or if they're just a whole lot of nothing. I'm Kaz Lesgard.
And I'm Jameson Rafter.
And is this a second Christmas episode?
We've never done this before.
What? Yeah, no.
In the war on Christmas, Christmas is gaining ground.
Christmas is winning a little bit. just call us Will Ferrell and Ryan Reynolds, because we're spirited.
Oh. Okay.
Just call us... Oh, God.
Is that an actual movie or just a billboard? Because I've really never seen anything except the bus stops.
Adam, it's on Apple TV Plus, a streaming service everyone has and definitely watches, and is full of programs and shows that definitely exist and are popular.
They're frequently nominated for things.
They are. They
exist.
won Best Picture at the Academy Awards for a movie that does not exist and did not come out.
They look great on billboards.
They truly do. Yes, it's another Christmas episode. We're not ending the year. It is our last episode of the year, but we're bucking tradition.
Yeah, we're not doing one of my beloved post-apocalyptic movies to end the year. We're doing a second Christmas movie
because the world has become a little too apocalyptic on its own. We decide, you know what? We'll keep in the spirit. But yes, today we're talking about 2004's Noël, and why are we doing that? Other than the fact that we could name the podcast Noël Thing Movies. There's a reason. There's a method to the madness. And I'm going to let you in on it, listening at home, and our guest on this show. So, we like to do trilogies. We like to do trilogies on this show. We just finished a trilogy, our most succinct fucking trilogy ever, the Nothing movies of Whoopi Goldberg's voice acting career. It's our most popular series yet. Everyone, the tweets haven't stopped. But I was trying to figure out, how are we going to close out the year? What are we going to do? Are we just going to do a one-off? Or are we just going to do something? Is there a way I can tie it into what we've just been talking about? And then it hit me. We've sort of been doing a stealth trilogy within the trilogy.
Whoa, trilogies within trilogies.
It's Trillception.
Oh, boom.
So, the last episode we did, Blizzard, that was a Christmas movie.
Yes.
The episode before that, Everyone's Hero, featured, among many other voice acting performances, featured an uncredited supporting role from Robin Williams. And both of those movies were directed by actors. Blizzard was directed by LeVar Burton, and Everyone's Hero was directed by Christopher Reeve and two other guys who, let's face it, probably did
Finished the movie
probably
after he
did
died.
most of the work there.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I looked around and I found a movie that is a Christmas movie, that is directed by an actor, and features Robin Williams in an uncredited supporting role. So this is our trilogy.
What a trifecta.
Within the trilogy that I am calling the actor-turned-director holiday/family entertainment trilogy, probably starring Robin Williams, but, don't tell anyone about it.
And you called the Whoopi Goldberg trilogy sweaty.
You
need a minute?
That one's so sweaty, it gave me the vapors. It turned me into a white seersucker suited individual. Let's get off this train. But yes,
how about we introduce our guest?
Let's do that. Let's do that. He's sitting right here.
He hasn't left yet, so
we've given him ample opportunity to. The door's right over there. No, he's a Vancouver-based actor. You can see him currently in the Netflix sitcom Blockbuster. I have to think really hard not to mix those two up. And you can see him very soon on Paramount Plus with the CBS Christmas movie Must Love Christmas. It's Adam Beauchesne.
Hi.
He's here.
Hello. Thank you for having me.
Of course, man.
Thanks for being here.
What a thrill. As you were introducing the movie, not to say that I'm incredibly unfamiliar with your podcast, but I did a little bit of research. I was trying to guess which actor in this movie was the trilogy you were doing, because Noël is filled with every A-list actor from 2004.
Oh, yes.
And I somehow had never heard of it. I settled on Susan Sarandon, but it turns out it's entirely outside of your normal format, correct?
No,
we'll occasionally do a one-off.
I like it.
Yeah, we kind of mess with the format a little bit, but I would say there's a good chance everyone in this movie will end up getting their own trilogy.
Absolutely.
At some point in time. There's plenty of Susan movies to choose from, plenty of Penelope Cruz movies to choose from. Paul Walker, maybe a kind of harder subject. I don't know. Kind of need to delve into that filmography a little bit.
He did a lot in his heyday.
Oh yeah, definitely. But the main one that I want to do following this is that 2023. We gotta do Robin. We gotta officially do Robin.
Officially, and not just like count the last two that we did as part. Like the next one's the third and final.
No, it will be the credited Robin Williams trilogy.
The credited, okay.
Where he's actually in this. Adam, I did not tell you when I sent you this link that Robin Williams was in this movie.
No.
How shocked were you? Because he does come out of nowhere.
Floored. I'm floored at the prospect of a movie. Every star as they appeared, because I'd never heard of this. Starting with Susan Sarandon, but almost every shot for the first 10 minutes, I'm like, what?
Him?
No way! Huh?
Yeah.
Because it's not one of those, those movies, they release them all the time. You know it's a bad script because the poster is a list of 20 A-list actors that they've just thrown money at.
Oh yeah, your Valentine's Days and your New Year's Eves, which this feels a little reminiscent
This is
100%.
Yeah, this is trying to ape on the success of those a little bit, but...
Yeah. Well, this does predate those movies.
It does?
Yes, 2004. So,
Well, they're modeled on its massive success, no doubt.
So this launched 1,000 ships. This took that entire premise and let's get some Hollywood royalty and some hot up-and-comers, and we'll throw money at them, and we'll make a confusing and a narrative that jumps around a lot Christmas movie.
Who is the director? I didn't do that research.
All right, fair enough. So we might as well bring it up. Yes, this is our third movie within our... I'm not doing the whole thing again. That was one time. Yeah. We can loop it back in.
You barely survived that, too.
Oh, man. I nearly passed out. The director of this is Italian character actor Chaz Palminteri.
Oh, I did know that. Who also is in it, briefly?
Who also appears...
gave himself a little...
In a brief role.
Yeah.
What is his name again?
Arizona.
Arizona, the homeless...
The drifter...
mob tough?
I knew it was a brand of iced tea.
Yeah, who lives he lives in abandoned theaters. And
I needed a lot more of that scene. I was kind of disappointed that scene ended...
the way that it did.
As abruptly as it did.
He famously breaks hands.
Yeah.
Specifically.
That's his trade.
we will get into it, but when I say the name Chaz Palminteri, what roles come to mind?
A lot of gangster shit.
I mean, that is his nom de plume. He's a gangster-looking gentleman. He's your go-to guy when you need like a mob boss to fill out the roles, and Anthony LaPaglia won't pick up your calls. I'm sure he was, he was on the same call sheet as your James Gandolfini's and your Dennis Farinas and all.
Absolutely.
Of them. Yeah, and
much like all those actors, whenever I see them in talk shows or just doing press junkets, they seem like absolute sweethearts. They get the nicest people in the world to play mafia toughs. I love that. That's so adorable.
You just gotta find someone with a pure heart, and you gotta squeeze out that darkness.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Chaz Palminteri, since we're talking about him, we might as well roll into this here. So yeah, Chaz Palminteri, he was, like a struggling actor. His sort of like big claim to fame that he's been able to spin off into a bunch of different projects. In 1989, he did a one-man off-Broadway show called A Bronx Tale that gained some traction. It was a one-man show. He played like 30 characters or whatever, and it was basically just his childhood. His father was a bus driver. He lived in a neighborhood with a bunch of actual mafia tough guys. When he was 9 years old, he witnessed a murder, and when the cops came to ask him about him, he zipped his lip. And the mob people were all like, that was good. You did good. Here's a shiny dime. And he kind of did odd jobs for the mob for a little while. And he almost got into it. And then he decided, you know what?
I'm not going to be a wise guy.
No, I'm just going to play one on the stage and on TV.
This was all research.
And so he took that experience and he spun it into A Bronx Tale. And that ran on Broadway for a while. And then one day, a certain audience member named Robert De Niro came to see Jameson. You can't see it at home, but Jameson did a perfect Robert De Niro impression.
I didn't try.
No, I know. But you did it without thinking.
Yeah.
And it was perfect.
Yeah.
It was the perfect De Niro face.
Yeah, like downward corners of my mouth, eyebrows raised, and I was like, "Oh, Robert De Niro!" And then like you did, when you hear Robert De Niro, you can't help but just do that face. It was a surprise face, but it was.
I love that was your knee-jerk reaction. Just hearing his name. Yeah, De Niro was a big fan of it, and he took it and
I like you.
You're good.
You're good.
This is good. I like this tale. I like the Bronx. You. We're gonna make movie magic together, and they did. And they turned A Bronx Tale into a movie called The Bronx Tale, which was written by Chaz Palminteri, directed by Robert De Niro, his directorial debut. It's still only one of 2 movies that he's directed, and Robert De Niro plays the kid's father, and Chaz Palminteri plays like the mob boss. That the kid, obviously they cast an actor to play young Chaz. I don't think that was his name. I think they gave him
Young Chaz.
I'm gonna guess Sonny. I don't know. Sure. But that was that. Before that, he was a struggling actor. He worked as a bouncer. His coworker was Dolph Lundgren. And he was fired from being a bouncer, and he kind of got into, like the idea of like, I'm going to write my own story, I'm going to write my play. After he was fired from being a bouncer, after he turned away legendary Hollywood agent to the stars, Swifty Lazar, who, true story, I once played in a theater production of Frost Nixon that Adam was also in.
Correct.
So it all ties around. Movies, plays, real life, and it all kind of like mushes together.
My God.
Yeah.
That background of Chaz Palminteri's childhood gives me so much context to Noël now. Because it is the darkest, most grotesque,
oh my God, yeah.
most horrible.
It's one of the creepiest Christmas movies I think I've ever seen.
If there weren't Christmas trees in the movie, it would not be a Christmas movie.
It's the rare Christmas movie that puts you in a worse mood after you watch it. It really is quite dour.
Every 5 minutes I was like, oh right, it's Christmas Eve.
Yeah.
There's nothing about it that
It's
feels
Christmas Eve. It's
Eve.
happening right now.
Yeah.
And basically it's a movie with like 3 plots.
4 by my count.
And all of them are we can litigate this later.
Okay, yeah.
What constitutes a plot?
We forget about the 4th one because it gets too dark.
All of them are pretty fucking dour.
Yeah.
All of them are.
They range the gamut from stupid to crazy to depressing.
And there's one. Okay, technically there's 2 plot twists. There's one that happens right in the middle. We'll get into it.
Yeah,
we're gonna talk about the plot.
I kind of wish you didn't text me and say like, "Oh, there's a plot twist," because as soon as the movie started, I'm like hunting for it, and I pegged one right away.
Oh yeah,
right away.
obviously, yeah. Yeah. Unfortunately, like, the big plot twist, I was all like, what? Unfortunately, as the movie goes on, they do kind of take the air out of that particular plot twist. But then they substitute a different plot twist, and I'm all like, okay, that's kind of crazy. It's not as crazy as the first one, and I kind of wish you had followed that to the conclusion that I wanted you to.
Yeah. They choose the least satisfying route to not wrap up every plot line in this movie. Yeah.
But yeah, just a couple of other minor factoids about Chaz Palminteri. He is an Oscar-nominated actor. He was nominated for Best Supporting Actor for Bullets Over Broadway, which I'm just going to say is one of the only Woody Allen movies that you can still watch completely guilt-free, because it's incredibly funny. There's no age-appropriate romance in it, and Woody doesn't act in it. So you can watch that and have a good-ass time, and Chaz Palminteri is really good. Jennifer Tilly also got Oscar-nominated for that one.
Wow.
Diane Wiest won her second Oscar for that movie. And then Chaz Palminteri has written a couple of other plays. He wrote a play called Fateful, which was also turned into a movie with Cher.
Okay.
If we ever do Cher, we're gonna have to do Fateful, because that's a real nothing movie on her career. That nearly exists. That was one of like the last movie she was in before she kind of soft retired for a while. But yeah, that's a Chaz Palminteri penned film. As a director, his career includes one episode of Oz and a TV movie that is called Women vs. Men.
Oh boy.
Oh, what side do you want to be on? The winning side.
The winning side.
A battle of the sexes breaks out when a woman follows her disgruntled husband and his buddy to a strip club and spots them getting lap dances. That is all the plot that the internet will give me for Women vs. Men.
Progressive.
Paul Reiser, Joe Mantegna, Christine Lottie, Glenn Headley, Robert Pastorelli, Jennifer Coolidge. Women vs. Men. Birth, marriage, strippers, death. That is the tagline.
Cool.
Now you know all of the information on the internet for Women vs.
I feel like
Men.
I don't even need to see the movie now.
No. We know how that one ends.
Yeah.
And the other thing I should say is that Chaz Palminteri's recent success has been a remount of A Bronx Tale, but this time as a musical. So it is.
I think I heard about that, yeah.
I don't know if it's still currently running, but I think it, at the very least, got nominated for some Tonys, might have even won some. So there we go. He has taken his childhood story and he has been able to turn it into 3 separate artistic projects that completely stand on their own, separate from one another.
Good for him.
Pretty amazing.
Yeah.
And yeah,
I might actually have to check it out if it's that fascinating.
the movie's pretty good.
Okay.
You know, like it's like a solid gangster drama. I mean, like, you know, like it's fun if you're curious as to what a movie directed by Robert De Niro looks like. You know, it's pretty good. You should check that out.
Cool.
And you'll learn more about Chaz Palminteri's childhood than I could tell you because he put it all on screen for you to see it.
Well, Adam.
Yes.
Favorite Christmas movies?
Boy. I mean, Home Alone immediately stands out. I do. It's funny. Not to make it all about Noel, but I
mean, we did ask you to watch it.
Not to make it all about the title of the episode that you're currently listening to.
I don't want to plug the Must Love Christmas that's currently airing on Paramount Plus too much, but I know that made-for-TV Christmas movies get a bit of a bad rap because they're very predictable. But watching this in contrast, this felt like a TV movie, but it was devoid of all the things that make Christmas movies good Christmas movies, right? To me, it had no heart. So I tend to return to movies that have that. So Home Alone for me is a lot of that. My favorite moment is like when the mom comes home to reunite with her son. Those kinds of movies I very much enjoy. Yeah. But I can't really think of any others off the top of my head.
I mean, as you say that, you know, like, Christmas movies tend to get a bad rap because they are somewhat formulaic and they kind of, like, hit the same beats over and over
They
again.
really lay on the schmaltz, really.
Yeah. But it could, of course, also be argued that is why the people who like them. Like, the people who tune in want to see the same thing that they've seen a million other times, and that's entirely why they have.
But maybe that's what I was tapping into in my disappointment with Noel, was anticipating these things happening. So if you reframed it as not a Christmas movie, maybe I would have loved it.
It did have a brief theatrical run, and it does feel like Chaz Palminteri made this movie because he wanted to take like the format of like a Hallmark Christmas movie, but he wanted to make it dramatic. He wanted to make it real and deal with real things like dead kids and
abusive parents,
and self-harm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we're gonna
involuntary manslaughter.
This is what real Christmas is like.
Mm-hmm.
Rampant homophobia.
Oh my god, the gay panic in this movie is ridiculous.
Rears its head like 4 different times. God damn.
Yeah, wild.
Mm-hmm.
Because that is the thing about Christmas movies, is that they often end up being the movies that you see the most.
Yeah.
Like, if anyone were to ask me what is the movie I've seen the most, without a question, it is Muppet Christmas Carol.
Yes.
Because my family forces me to watch that every year, sometimes twice.
I think you once made the point that when people list off their favorite movies, they often omit their favorite Christmas movie. And it seems to be like the movie that they go back to year after year.
It's in its own category.
Mm-hmm. Yes, totally. I am more of a horror movie fan through and through, though. So Christmas movies are a little bit lost on me, but I don't know.
There are quite a few Christmas horror movies.
This is true.
That is a genre that is growing increasingly wider and wider.
That's true.
I told myself this year, I always try and do it, but I never seem to have enough time. This year, I'm going to try and finally see all the Black Christmas movies, which I haven't seen any of them.
I saw the first one this year. I think listening to a podcast, actually, that was reviewing it. But yeah, it is, that series is on my list for sure. And Krampus. I never saw the Krampus.
Krampus is great.
Krampus is a good time.
Yeah.
Krampus is
great practical effects.
A barrel
great,
of laughs, yeah.
I mean, this movie kind of feels like a Christmas horror movie.
I'm adding this to the list.
I mean, there is a ghost in it.
Yeah.
Kind of. We'll get into
Astral projection, maybe?
I do want to talk about what happens there.
Well, should we rip the Band-Aid off?
Let's just rip the Band-Aid. Let's just go right into it. Let's talk about Noel. We'll take a quick break for a charity spot. And when we come back, we'll go right into it. So stay tuned. One of the joys of the holiday season is being able to let the special people in your life know how much they mean to you. While many of us don't need the material possessions given every year, when it comes to kids, it can be a heartwarming experience to see their eyes light up after receiving that one particular gift around the holidays. But for some families, it's not always possible to give their loved ones everything that they want. And the stigma surrounding not being able to afford even the necessities can be a heartbreaking prospect, especially around this time of year. That's why our charity today is Pay Away the Layaway. What started as a random act of kindness grew into a nationwide movement dedicated to spreading joy. Pay Away's mission is to inspire hope and spread kindness by helping families pay off layaway balances that include children's items such as games, toys, books, backpacks, clothes, and coats. Layaway is a way for families to pay for items without paying the full amount up front. This can be especially useful during the holidays when shopping for presents. Pay Away the Layaways partners with major retailers like Burlington Stores and Walmart to pay for thousands of families' gifts and essentials on layaway. To make a donation and surprise a family this year by paying off their layaway, visit the link in our show notes or visit payaway.org/give. So, Noel.
How do we begin talking about this movie? Because there are like 4 different plots here.
More like, no, thank you.
Love it. So I watched this movie I was saying about 4 days ago, which was a mistake because it instantly left my mind. I will admit, too, I should preface all of this by saying about halfway through the movie, I did put it on 1.5 speed. Just because it was like really plotting on.
Yeah.
And I like a bad movie, but But I went on Wikipedia today because I needed to remind myself about the plots, and I should have done that before I watched it even, because it goes through the 3.5 plots in their own, it separates them.
Yeah.
So you don't get these very clumsy crossovers between plots. But the craziest thing was, so the Wikipedia plot description mentions molestation, a gay panic-motivated hate crime, manslaughter, depression, pathological jealousy, and suicide.
Who gets molested?
The old
Susan
man, the Alan Arkin going after Paul Walker. He gets handsy with him.
Does he?
Yeah, he goes after him once, and that's what caused him to push him to the ground.
I don't think so. I'm gonna have to...
Wikipedia.
Well, here's the thing
It says it on Wikipedia.
Here's the thing about Wikipedia. You can just write anything.
Yeah.
You can just put anything you want up there.
Oh, I edited it yesterday.
Maybe the guy Susan Sarandon goes on a date with, because he comes on very strong, not giving her.
That's a better case of it, but they called it gay panic molest, something about that. But that was about Alan Arkin making a move finally to be like, never leave me, and goes for him.
Oh god,
sure.
Oh man,
I don't know.
Maybe we should get some context.
I don't know. No, you know what? No context in this episode. I don't know necessarily if that's molestation or like a gay panic, like stay away from it, and just more of all like. I'd prefer it if you didn't touch me. It doesn't really matter that you're Alan Arkin in this context. I don't really want anyone to currently touch me right now. Okay, can we litigate how many plots this movie has?
All right, I'm gonna say Susan Sarandon dealing with her Alzheimer addled mother.
Yep.
Paul Walker and Penelope Cruz's rocky engagement.
2.
And the guy who wants to spend Christmas in the hospital.
3.
So
weird.
Yeah.
That's entirely
and Alan Arkin's unrequited love.
See, now, I feel like Penelope Cruz, Paul Walker, and Alan Arkin all kind of spiral into one plot.
Yeah, because
then they just ditch Penelope Cruz.
Well, that's the thing. Yes, first build Penelope Cruz has shockingly little to do in this movie.
I would argue that those plots are together because what is central there is Paul Walker confronting his homophobia.
Right.
Because Alan Arkin's plot doesn't resolve itself at all, so he has to be included in this.
Okay,
correct?
So should we just like describe like the plots for these come along?
I think we have figured out though that I wasn't imagining a plot of this movie that I had forgotten about. So, okay, no, we are.
Well, the most forgettable one is the guy who wants to spend Christmas in the hospital,
right?
Because like he had a childhood accident where he had to go to the hospital at Christmas time, and it was the happiest Christmas he's ever had. And what a sad, pathetic life!
It's the most fucking tragic thing ever. And it's so sad, and it just. And we'll get to it.
And there's the one plot that does not link into the others in any way.
Not at all.
Except that they like cross paths in the hospital, presumably.
A little bit, yeah.
Holy
you really do wonder why this is a part of it. Okay, we'll get into it. We're gonna get into the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
So opening credits. I just want to talk about the credits specifically.
Sure.
These are the cheapest looking fucking credits I've ever seen.
Some Times New Roman bullshit.
It looks like it was done in PowerPoint. Yeah,
I mean,
ridiculous.
Did you guys notice that like for the title card of Noël, they didn't have like the 2 dots over the E?
Couldn't afford
They
it.
didn't even have the right fucking font for that.
Okay, so I'll take it back. Sorry, our movie today is Noel.
Noel.
Yeah, that's what we're watching. I always notice when like they cheaped out on the credits, you know, like they did. They could have, I don't know, make it a little more whimsical jazz.
This is back in the day when you needed like a code to get the special characters.
Exactly. Hey, he made it green, all right.
But also in these credits, as we're rolling down the credits, I don't know. You know, to use like the mobster terminology, I don't know how many like palms Chas Palminteri had to grease or whatever, but he got a couple of like heavy hitters for this. Cinematographer is Russell Carpenter, who shot a little movie called Titanic. Maybe you've heard of it. He has a movie coming out. Maybe you've heard of it. It's called Avatar 2. That's the guy who shot the movie that we're talking about
This
today.
movie looks ugly as sin.
Oh, God.
Like, the lighting is weird. There are some scenes where, like, you swear, like, this is in front of a green screen. I have never seen shots of 2 actors in a room together that just look so flat and uninteresting. This movie just looks ugly.
And not even in, like, a gritty realism kind of way.
No.
The plot veers that direction.
It's too bright, if anything.
Yeah.
And then the score is by Alan Menken. Friggin' Beauty and the Beast, fucking Aladdin, Little Mermaid, all of that shit. And I was like, as soon as I saw that, I'm all like, wait, what? And I was listening out for like specifically like the chunks of the score so I could hear it. He's just like fucking around with a piano.
Well,
it's just like tingling the keys.
It was
or
meant
whatever.
to be listened to at 1.5 speed. It's much
right.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Just up the tempo a little bit.
Yeah. And I guess that's a partnership that grew from this movie because Alan Menken did go on to do the book for the Bronx Tale musical that Chas Palminteri ultimately wrote. that's where this relationship started. But yeah, no, I'm just watching like these cheap ass credits. I'm like, look at this bullshit. Look at this Times New Roman font. Alan Menken, the fuck?
Yeah.
I just a couple of huge names I wasn't expecting to see.
These A-list names have never looked worse.
Yeah.
It gives you a glimpse of what's to come.
I mean,
A-list actors have never looked worse.
They must have really liked the script to be a part of something like this.
I wanted to find how much they were paid, because there cannot be another reason. It was a case of like they got one of them and the rest were like, oh, Robin Williams is going to do it? All right.
I don't know. You hit on it earlier, Jameson. I think Chaz Palminteri must just be a really nice guy, and I think he just is able to like convince people. He's able to persuade people.
Yeah, sweet talk him into being in his movie.
Be in his thing or whatnot. I mean, like a couple of these people, you kind of have to like look at their careers, like Penelope Cruz. Was still very much sort of like in like the earlier stages of her Hollywood career. I mean, she did all of the Almodovar movies before that, but like she didn't really become a name here until Vanilla Sky. That was kind of like her big, which is a remake of a movie that she made previously, but like that was kind of like her big thing, because when that movie came out, she was also dating Tom Cruise briefly, so that became like a thing, and like the media cruise together at last. And this movie's only like 5 years away from that, so you know she's not like the star she is now.
Right.
I mean,
and Paul Walker would be like young up and comers in this movie. So.
Susan Sarandon and Alan Arkin, no excuse there. They already have like decades of career behind them. Doing their best work. But you know, let's talk about Susie. Okay. She's lovely. Yeah. She's sad. I want to give her a hug.
Yeah, so she's barely keeping it together, visiting her mom in the hospital. She's suicidal. And she's doing a very bad job of covering that up. She's dropping a ton of lines like, "Oh, I'll be fine over the holidays. Just don't leave me alone near open windows or some knives."
Well, she's got a sense of humor.
Yeah, she hasn't lost her sense of humor doing all that.
It was funny, the initial shot in this movie of her walking down the street. I noticed almost all of the background actors have a reaction to her like, "Wait a minute,
is that Susan Sarandon?" Like, yeah, that was not a close set.
They couldn't afford background after hiring her, so they're like, "Let's just see what happens."
So, like, her life's in a downward spiral. Like, she has no family to hang out with over Christmas. Her mom isn't doing too hot. I guess like she has like an estranged husband that's remarried a younger woman or something like that. She's got no kids, and we'll get into
the tragedy of this.
And her friend just suggests, you know what, you need some dick. Go get laid. That'll cheer you right up.
Who is this assistant character? Yeah. She is very forward.
Yes, and she sets this movie firmly in 2004. Her hair is wild. She's like she's the worst member of a girl group.
I know exactly what you mean, yeah.
Yeah, Sugar Jones is what I'm thinking of specifically.
But she comes out and she I have not written down a single character name. It's all just the actor.
Yeah,
so it's Susan.
Mm-hmm.
She's and she what does this assistant say to her? Like, your sister called and she's not coming down to spend Christmas with you and your mom because she's with Buddhist monks in like the Catskills.
Yeah,
I'm all like, what a
yeah. Your therapist has to cancel your session today because her wonderful husband is like whisking her away on like a fantastic Christmas vacation.
Just like what a word salad of words that you just said there.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and Susan has like a good attitude about all of this.
Mm-hmm.
You know, she's laughing in an office, all like, "Oh, haha, you know, I'm alone, but it's okay."
Yeah. Because it's Christmas.
I'm not internalizing anything. Mm-hmm. You know, I don't have like the saddest existence ever.
So her assistant says, like, "Hey, the young guy in the office wants to have a one night stand with you. Just throw him a bone and go on a date with him for me. Do that for me." And so she goes out on a date with the guy from Rescue Me. And he is very forward.
Holy smokes.
Yeah, very creepy.
I literally was covering my eyes. It was so cringy. Every moment of them together. Now knowing what happens, I guess it's a little better. I thought they were actually trying to make him a romantic interest. Because again, I went into this thinking it was a Christmas movie. Mm-hmm. So I was like, oh, how nice that this older lady has found this model.
Yeah.
Oh my God, though, the way that he approaches those scenes.
Yeah. It's tough. I maybe didn't find him as creepy as you guys did. It was quite obvious that like she wasn't into it. Obviously, it
was moving too fast for her.
There's both an age thing and a power thing. Because I think she's in like a position of she's a book editor, right?
Yeah, and her
Yeah.
office is like practically a playroom. There's like so many child's drawings around
Right,
there.
yeah, she's
I don't
like
know
a
what the hell was going
Oh,
on.
right. That's the other element to her. She's a children's book editor.
That's what
and
it
that
was.
becomes ironically horrifying later on as we find out more about Susan Sarandon.
Yeah.
I mean, like,
Yeah.
you can probably guess what's coming. But,
So,
yeah.
she turns this guy down, and he says, like, yeah, you're way too tightly wound. You got to loosen up a little bit. So she takes it upon herself to crash a Hispanic family's Christmas party.
The
I
way
mean-
she breaks into their brownstone
I mean,
is
we're
cunning.
jumping all over the place.
Yeah.
It's really actually kind of hard
Yeah,
to do the plot of this movie because it really does jump everywhere.
do you want to just like cover each plot, or do you want to like as like
no,
in
because
sequential
they do
order?
intersect eventually.
Okay. So let's detour a little bit and talk about Paul Walker and Penelope Cruz.
Right.
Oh man.
So Paul Walker is a short-fused NYC cop, and boy, that character has aged incredibly well. There's nothing awkward about that dynamic whatsoever.
the way they introduce those characters too is the most
Oh, yeah.
problematic
There's-
scene.
There's no introduction to
Yeah.
the characters;
No.
they're just there.
He just pulls up and next to Penelope Cruz in the police cruiser. He's like, "Hey, pretty lady, can I give you a ride?" And she's like, "Sure."
Yeah.
What the hell kind of dynamic is this? We find out like in the next scene, oh, they're engaged. Okay, so this is like some weird foreplay that they do.
They did trick me though. I wrote the note. I was like, 2004 wasn't that long ago. But I was like, was this okay at any point?
Wasn't it?
But
Hmm.
Wasn't it like the longest amount
for
of
Paul
time
Walker
ever?
though, come on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That man is a looker.
Penelope Cruz is a pretty.
Oh my
that's
God.
a good looking
Everyone in this
couple.
movie is
Two-
beautiful.
Two gorgeous-looking people.
Holy
You can see
smokes.
why they get like the bulk of the screen time in this movie.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways, they're madly in love with each other, but when he drops her off at work, he catches her giving up like too long of a hug to some guy, and that's when like the jealousy starts triggering, and he's like assumes the worst.
And then he comes back to their apartment and he finds the guy there, and they're the two of them are decorating a tree, and the audience can read this situation. The audience can tell what's going on, but of course, Paul Walker
Flies off the handle.
Flies off the handle,
pushes him
pushes
into a
him
tree.
the breaks all of the ornaments.
He's a tree decorator. He was here. I wanted to surprise you with a Christmas tree. It's goddamn Christmas Eve, and they don't have a Christmas tree already.
Truly.
What the hell?
Yeah. And the old tree decorator excuse.
Yeah.
Every woman is just hanging out with her tree decorator, her straight tree decorator. There also was an entire scene, I think, before that was just Penelope Cruz sexy dancing for him for like 3 whole minutes. It was like a music video, no dialogue. And then he just goes back to work.
Yeah.
I think Chaz Palminteri realized he had 2 very attractive actors and just wanted their faces to do the legwork.
I got no problem watching Penelope Cruz dance.
I'm pretty sure it was a legal requirement in 2004 to get as much Penelope Cruz dancing in your movie as it was
Really?
possible.
Yeah.
And so that's like a whole thing. And look, so that's what's going on with that. They're engaged, but he has a bad temper and he's hyper jealous to the point where it's a real fucking like big moose from like Archie type jealousy here. Like even just the suggestion that other men have come onto her in the past prompts him to be all like, "What man? What are their names? Write them down." Like he's an asshole.
Mhm.
He's not a good character.
Yeah.
And this movie tries to make me like him, and it does not succeed.
Yeah. After their sex rendezvous, I believe he goes to a diner to meet up with his other lecherous cop friend.
Yes.
And that's where the plots kind of intersect with Broken
Right.
Hand Man.
This is where it Broken Hand Man is in here. Okay, a brief sidebar on Broken Hand Man. I just want to say whose character's name is Jules, I believe. Jameson, did you recognize this actor? He has been in a movie we have covered.
Oh, he has?
Yes.
I thought he looked a little like the comedian Jay Moore, but that's about it.
He does.
But it's not
he's got a
him.
little thing. No, the role we saw him in also involved him injuring his hand the last time we saw him.
Dude, we've watched a lot of shit. Can you just like...
He was Bette Midler and William Fichtner's son in Drowning Mona.
Oh, that guy.
Yeah.
I thought you said he was only in like one movie.
I said he wasn't in like a lot of
Okay.
movies, and this is one of the few movies that he was in.
No.
Adam, have you seen Drowning Mona?
No.
Thoughts? No?
Nope.
No.
I think I'd love it, though, based on your description.
There we go.
It's pretty good.
Bette Midler.
If Broken Hand Guy's in it,
Hey, there you
say
go.
no more.
Yeah.
Say no more.
Tons of A-listers in that, too.
tons of A-listers in that too, and this guy, who is inexplicably our fifth lead, I guess, other than Robin Williams, but he's not in this movie, so shh, don't tell anyone.
Keep that under your hat.
Don't let him know. But he just shows up. He comes to the hospital at the same time as Susan Sarandon. He holds the door open for her. I don't know, foreshadowing? He's not going to be able to use that hand soon. And he walks up to the front desk and he says,
What time's the party?
Yeah, what time does the Christmas party start?
Which is a great introduction. I'm going to start using that when I meet people. Like, hey, when's the party?
At a hospital, no less.
All movie, we're just trying to figure out what this guy's deal is. And it's just... He's just had the most tragic fucking life.
Like time in the hospital at Christmas time was the happiest Christmas of his life. So he wants to desperately go back and go to a Christmas party at a hospital. So he's seeking out ways to injure himself. And he talks to his friend Glenn, who says, "Oh, I know a guy who can help you out." Like, dude, just like slip and fall on the ice or something. Like, what the hell?
He also, though, he owes money to the mob or something. He is also, like, in trouble in some way.
Like, it's so badly defined. Like, these two guys sitting here, I thought they were, like, mob enforcers.
Yeah.
Like, I truly have no idea what Jules' deal is outside of he's sad and he wants to hurt himself so he can go to the hospital. We don't know what he does. We don't really know. We see, like, his, like... There is, like, an inexplicably long scene where we go back to his apartment and he just, like, makes himself a TV dinner.
Yes.
And then nothing else happens. And it's at the point of the movie when it's all like...
The height of misery.
Why are we following Marcus Thomas
Yeah.
from Drowning Mona? Like, why... I thought actual celebrities were in this movie.
Yeah, they couldn't get Jay Moore for this part?
Yeah. Or anyone.
Yeah, anyone,
They
really.
could have gotten anyone.
Yeah.
Yeah, anyway, we'll put a pin in that. We'll come back to that later.
So the two cop buddies are sitting at the diner. For this plot to make any sense, this has to be the first time they go to this diner. Because otherwise they would not have...
Either that or Alan Arkin just started working there.
Yeah.
Well, but he keeps... We'll get into the Alan Arkin of it all.
Alan Arkin goes up... He's bringing the check and like he notices Paul Walker. He's, "Oh, it's you. Oh, sorry. Here's your check." And
which, to be fair, I would react that way.
He's a good-looking dude, right?
Yeah.
It's you.
Yeah.
Have some cookies.
Yeah, and so, the two cops are like, "Yeah, get a load of this guy. He thinks you're handsome." He's like, "Yeah, he thinks I'm handsome too." Well, no, he was looking at... They start bickering over, like, who Alan Arkin is more attracted to.
I think the guy just got a thing for two guys in uniform, you know what I'm saying?
Two guys? Nah, he's looking at me, not you.
No, he was looking at me too.
Nah, he wasn't looking anywhere near you.
What are you saying, Mikey? That guys don't notice me? Is that what you're saying? That I don't walk down the street and guys don't turn their head to take a look at me?
No, I'm not saying that at all. I just think the guy's interested in me, not you.
Oh.
And then Alan Arkin, as you said, Alan Arkin brings over specifically a plate of almond butter cookies, and Paul Walker says, "These are my favorite cookies." He's like, "Yeah, I know." And he walks away and he's like, he's giving him the flirty eyes.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting here not knowing anything about this movie.
Yeah.
And I'm just going like, what is happening?
Well,
I'm kind of loving this, but like, what's
it's
going
so
on?
weird. It's so off-putting. And when he goes to get the check, it's like, "Do I know you from somewhere?" It's like, it's kind of overwhelming. It's just been so long, and it's like, "Okay, get away from him. I don't swing that way, pal." It's like, no, if you just let me explain, can I meet you like in a couple hours? Like, "No, get away from me, you old man." And I'm just like, oh, they're going to drag this out forever. Yes. Just announce that you're his long-lost father already,
his inability to communicate is one of the most infuriating parts of this.
Which is what I assumed it was. Yeah. I assumed it was some sort of like familial connection. Oh boy, listeners.
No,
let me fucking tell you what it is. I can't wait till we get to it. But like, it's fucking wild.
Yeah.
But just the fact that in these early stages where there's all of like this, like guarded gay panic between like these characters and everything like that.
Nothing is a worse insult than being hit on by another man.
Absolutely.
No, it was you.
Oh, completely ruins my day. I'm not flattered by it at all.
Yeah.
But like just the fact that it's Alan Arkin doing this role. If they had cast like any actor who had played, not necessarily like played a gay character before, but played someone who at the very least could work within like the fluidity of sexuality, something like that. Not fucking barnstorming, not fucking Captain Invincible.
No.
Fucking like Alan Arkin, just like the crotchety, straightest actor you can imagine.
And Paul Walker, I love you.
Yeah, exactly. That's when it comes off. It's like, you're the love of my life. Let me embrace you.
I freaking love you.
That's what's great. That's what's great about it. But it's a big question mark for a while.
Mm-hmm.
So how long do we want to drag this out?
All right, so Penelope...
The movie drags it out for a really long time. I was like, just tell us what's going on here.
Let's go back to Susan Sarandon for a bit. So Penelope Cruz, she has a fight with Paul Walker and decides, I'm going to go spend time with my sister.
After her Christmas tree decorator is...
Well, presumably, she goes over to her family's house for Christmas Eve dinner. Presumably, Paul Walker was supposed to come with her.
Right,
100%.
yeah.
I imagine that is what has happened.
Sure.
Here.
Susan Sarandon, thinking about like her lot in life, she finds the brownstone. She goes up to the door just because like there's what a nice sounding party they must be having in there, and a family comes from behind her and they force her in.
She opens the door.
For them, and then they kind of sweep her into the house as well, not realizing that she's not a guest.
There's a lady with a stroller.
Yeah,
is what happens, and Susan Sarandon, being the good person she is, notices this, so she kind of like helps take the stroller up the snowy stairs. She opens the door, and then before you know it, oops! I'm in a Mexican family's Christmas dinner. Oopsie! You know, as you do.
It is clever directing, I will say, given the task of finding a way to get Susan Sarandon at Penelope Cruz's family's dinner table in about a minute. I was like, I got there.
Because how else are these two characters going to meet and have a conversation?
Just have it be on the front step.
Yeah.
Like, why are you looking so sad, Penelope Cruz? Well, I'm sad too.
Let's go. And the other thing is that, like, it takes like a little while for the family to realize Susan Sarandon isn't supposed to be there. And so Susan does the normal thing, and she excuses herself embarrassedly, and she leaves. Penelope Cruz then follows her, and they end up in a bar together. Why did she just go to the bar? Why couldn't she have just met? They met in the bar, and they started a conversation.
Penelope Cruz has now ditched two family members, two members of the family.
Also, Susan Sarandon has been on about 4 coffee dates already. This
is a long night.
Longest night.
It's a big night for her.
I kept forgetting it was
really
Christmas Eve. I'm like, this is the same evening that she just got date raped.
To be fair, December, the sun goes down early. They might have had an early dinner with Mr. Rapist. I don't know. This guy's really not that bad, but
we got to come up with a better name.
We are putting a lot on this character.
He doesn't rape her. He takes no for an answer eventually.
The way he ends that scene is she says, "I'm sorry, it's not you, it's me." And he goes, "Yeah, it is you."
That's the shittiest thing he does. Is he's kind of passive aggressive at the end,
but also pick up on hints. It's not rape, but it's not great.
Also, look,
the tagline of this movie.
Look, it's not great, but it's not great. It's not great, but the plus side, it's not that good.
Look who we got in the movie.
Yeah, look who we got. Look who's here.
Look how beautiful.
Look at all our friends. Robin's here. Don't tell anyone.
Yeah,
kind of.
So they go.
I lost my train of thought. Sorry, go ahead.
All right, so they go to a piano bar and they're just swapping stories about how sad and miserable they are. Penelope Cruz drops the line that she may be pregnant, but doctors told her you might not be pregnant. So that's going to be the rest of Penelope Cruz's storyline for this movie. And
truly, the only agency her character gets in the movie that isn't connected to another person's plotline is when she goes to get a pregnancy test.
Yeah,
that's the only time she's alone in her own story in this movie. She's just supporting everyone else.
And not that this is what we should be focusing on, but was she drinking at the bar, knowing that she might be pregnant?
She might have been.
She was?
She might have been.
Also, was the theme of the bar not why is Christmas so terrible? I feel like the MC was trying to encourage...
Oh, that fucking...
It was all horrible people being horrible.
Once again, it's Christmas time. I'm not feeling chipper. Because my girlfriend just left me for a male stripper. She says I'm a total dweeb and I have no money.
I guess what the hell kind of bar is this?
Because they're trying to impart that, if you're in a bar on Christmas Eve, you must be miserable and you must not like the holiday and everything. Yeah. So he does a very, the weirdest pub quiz.
Oh god.
Or just contest.
This is a bad idea. Let's have an open mic and hey, you tell us why you hate Christmas and the saddest story, gets a Christmas tree.
You get this little tree that I have on top of my piano.
The thing you
can
definitely want after you told us why you hate Christmas.
There are so many bad directions, like asking a room full of people, hey, why are you alone in a bar on Christmas Eve? Let's open it up to the floor.
You know what a bunch of people in a bar want to do on any day of the year? Public speaking.
Yeah.
That's what they came there for.
Yeah.
That's why they're there that day.
Susan Sarandon wins the Christmas tree when she goes over her like group therapy talking about, I had a daughter, she died on Christmas, and my husband soon left.
She died on Christmas the day she was born.
Mm-hmm.
Like the infant death.
Yeah.
Just to make it even more tragic.
I loved how she tells that story, and the guy was like, it's a pretty sad story, lady, but what's it got to do with Christmas? like, God damn, guy. But my favorite part of that is she says, because she was born and she died on Christmas. And there's a long silence, and then it cuts to an ambulance, and from what I heard, it sounded like a slide whistle.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
She died on Christmas.
That's a sad story, lady, but what's that got to do with Christmas?
Oh, right. She, Olivia May was born and died on Christmas.
and then that one guy's all like, all right, thank you for clarifying.
Yeah.
That makes more sense now.
Here's your tree.
Here's your tiny tree. Merry Christmas.
The whole purpose of this scene is to set up the shot of Susan tells this horrifying story about like her past, about where her headspace is right now and why we know she's depressed and everything. Cut to her hilariously hugging this tiny little tree at the bar, and it's all like that's why that was included, so we can have that payoff shot eventually at the end.
So back at Paul Walker's apartment, he gets a surprise visit from Alan Arkin. He said, "I just need 10 minutes of your time." Yeah.
How did he know where he lived? Unexplained.
Mm-hmm. Why did he allow this strange man into his apartment? I don't know.
We're not going to go there.
No.
Yeah, because the movie needs to happen.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, we're finally at it. So yes, Alan Arkin.
Are we though? Because I feel like he still prolongs it.
Oh no,
he comes
right.
in, he gets cookies.
There is a completely unnecessary scene where Alan Arkin is just about to reveal what the deal is, and then the cop partner shows up with two
floozies.
Prostitutes? Question mark.
Yeah.
He's like, "Hey, buddy, I hear you just had a fight with your fiance. Hey, let's hear some whores for you."
Yeah.
Because he introduces them as Holly and Mary, and then he laughs at it. It's all like, okay, if they have Christmas themed names, I'm guessing those aren't their real names, and I'm guessing there's some money being exchanged.
I think that's safe to say.
Yeah, but what a friend.
Yeah, what a guy. And he sees Alan Arkin there. He's all like, what's that guy doing here? What's going on? And then,
I guess he does like you more.
Yeah. And then,
I gotta find out what's going on.
God damn it.
He eventually gets ushered out. Paul Walker turns around. Alan Arkin is standing up now, and I'm all like, okay.
Yeah.
We're moving into...
Just tell him you're his father so we can get this fucking over with.
Yeah. And then Alan Arkin moves in on him, does he not, at this point?
He gets a little closer.
Yeah.
Oh god. Okay, so let's just say,
Paul Walker, you're the reincarnation of my dead wife.
And I just
Succinctly
what?
put.
Like you can see in my notes
What?
where the capitalization happens. I'm like, this?
Reveal.
We're doing this?
Yeah. I could not have predicted this.
No, it was the most unpredictable thing could have happened at that particular moment. And that's where this plot is going, and of course Paul Walker takes this news with all of the grace and understanding that one can have now.
Of a straight man in 2004.
He immediately throws Alan Arkin out of his building. His cop buddy is still downstairs.
Yeah.
There's some business going on between.
I just remembered that he doesn't hit him. He pushes him, and then Alan Arkin has like a heart attack.
Of course,
yeah,
a old man heart attack because he's super frail.
As soon as he hits the wall, he's like, "No, but no, it wasn't you. That was my body."
My heart is just. It's not.
It's overwhelming. My reincarnated wife in the body of Paul Walker doesn't love me.
It's not
my ticker.
It's not even the push that did it. It's just the love I'm feeling for my wife.
My heart's breaking over here.
Man. You know what, though? It does explain, this might be jumping ahead, it does explain why they could have been going to that diner for a while, because doesn't Alan Arkin choose a new guy every year?
That's
That's a reveal later,
Yeah.
but
That
I
is
think
the
now
reveal.
in my mind, they could have been going there forever. But suddenly he's like, oh, wait.
Yeah.
Truly
Truly
now.
the strangest.
Possibly. I don't know. I feel like that might have been like a new diner that they were trying that
Sure.
day. Because I have to imagine if you go to the same place, you at least recognize the people who are serving you every day.
Yeah.
And they very much seem to have just met that day.
Mhm.
Except Alan Arkin, who crossed an ocean of time to find Paul Walker that day. So this is where it was going. Look, I'll just reveal this right now. They don't end up together, and it's the biggest failing of this movie. Really.
Does Alan Arkin live?
Yeah, he's alive
he-
by the end of the movie.
Okay.
He's in his hospital bed, and his actual son comes to visit. I feel like we've already ripped this Band-Aid off, but
Yeah.
Paul Walker is not the reincarnation of this dead wife. Boo!
Yeah, so what
Believe
happened?
it or not.
His son comes by and he says, like, oh, don't tell me my dad told you that you're the reincarnation of his wife. Yeah, sorry about that, pal. He does that every year. Thanks for taking him to the hospital, but, like, you can go now. Paul Walker stays the night. He's hanging out in the hospital lobby. The son comes out and was like, oh, you still here, huh?
And this is his character's arc, where I guess he learns to be a better person, and because he gives Alan Arkin the closure that he needs.
Or maybe he just knows Penelope Cruz is about to leave him, and he's like hedging his bets.
I just gotta-
Maybe I am the reincarnation of this guy's wife.
No.
Maybe he's got money. He's got cookies.
I'll never want for love with Alan Arkin. So yeah, he gives Alan Arkin a kiss on the forehead, says he forgives him.
Because we forgot.
Yeah,
So
we forgot the craziest detail of all this.
the cop partner has done like some research.
I did a background check on this guy. Turns out Alan Arkin caught his wife sleeping with another guy, and he pushed the guy down the stairs and killed him.
More gay panic.
Yeah. And she, in a frenzy, left and got hit by a car or something,
Yes.
right? So she died the same day that he accidentally killed a guy.
Wikipedia said she killed herself in a car accident,
Okay.
which feels a little blamey, but
So we got like these parallels here, like Alan Arkin was a jealous guy and it ruined his life. Paul Walker is a jealous guy, like a tome from the future.
Yeah.
Repent or whatever, and then but it leads to, I guess, a nice little moment between these two guys in the bed, and then and that's where we leave Alan Arkin.
I feel really bad for the son. His
Right.
dad was in prison for however many years. His mom died.
Yeah.
And now here comes this stranger who's, like, into the idea that he might be the reincarnation.
Yeah.
He's, like, playing along with it. The son doesn't need this. Like, god damn, his life's been complicated
he's had
enough.
to watch his dad grapple with his own sexuality for 5 years. Being like, maybe that one is my wife, right?
How so he does this every year. How many times do you think Alan Arkin has done this? And what is the man to woman ratio?
They always look like Paul Walker.
It's always
They're
like
always in
Yeah.
a uniform.
Always,
Yeah.
always perfect tens.
it's always a pretty young boy. Yeah, so we're missing
It was Paul Rudd last year.
Exactly. So we're missing the scene between the son and Alan Arkin where it's all like, okay, Dad, I understand that you keep seeing like the reincarnation of Mom. It does seem to always be men in their mid-20s.
Mhm.
Like a
plenty of
attractive,
70-year-old women out there.
blue-eyed, blonde-haired man.
Yeah.
You do have a... No, it's your mother! What are you doing?
Well, we never got to see a picture of what the mother looked like.
Oh my God.
It's just Paul Walker in a wig.
Yeah, in a dress.
If it zoomed into his bedside table and there's a photo of him with Paul Walker in a wig, that would have ended
That's
that
right,
plot.
I
so
remember.
Oh yeah, I
easily.
see it now.
Yeah,
You're totally
absolutely. Over in Susan Sarandon land.
Oh yeah.
What's happening? Yeah, she's at the bar. Is this where? No,
She goes to the hospital
She goes back
to
to the
present
hospital.
her
Right.
catatonic mom
Her
with the
miserable
Christmas tree,
Yeah.
and she breaks down. This has just all been too much for her. Like, what a night it's been.
Well, we have forgotten
Mm.
an important scene that happened
Yes.
earlier on in the movie. So across the hall from her mother is another comatose patient
Mm.
that we learn no one comes to visit. He's always alone. So she,
Save for this one time where Robin Williams is in the room.
Well, here we go. So,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
she brings over an angel for her mother.
Mm.
She said, "I'll put on your wreath." And then, like a split second later, she's all like, "You know what? Fuck my mom.
Yeah.
I'm just going to go into this stranger's room and I'm going to leave it here because he needs like a little bit of Christmas cheer.
I'm not going to turn the lights on.
No,
but I'm going to give
She does
this
literally
angel.
walk into this person's hotel room, the hotel room.
Hospital.
Well, you know what? Sometimes hospital does feel like a hotel. She hates the angel. She turns around, and Robin Williams has been in the chair the entire time.
He's like, "Can I help you?" No, he doesn't even say that.
No.
He's smiling silently in the corner.
Yeah, and he's just very quiet. And yes, I knew he was in it, but like the knowledge that someone who didn't know Robin Williams was in this movie, that this was how he was being introduced, that's, you can get whiplash from that.
What?
Like you can't throw someone that famous and that well loved at you in a movie and not realize without the knowledge that he's going to be there. Because it really does take you out of the
walk
movie.
us through that experience, will you?
Oh my God. Well, I mean, I completely misunderstood this plot. Again, I was really reaching for this to be a Christmas movie. So because you're presented with her and her terrifying coworker, I assumed that was to like lead her into Robin Williams' arms, which started to happen, but that's getting too far.
That's getting there. I don't know if either of you picked up on this, but just in this like first scene, just the fact that she turns around and he's in the chair. This was my first inkling. It's all like, there's a little something magical about Robin Williams. Apart from him, his general magicness in general.
Silently smiling in the corner was
something's
like,
happening.
Yeah, you're watching over these people.
We got a thing. And she just hung up an angel the second before he showed up, so it's all
so
like, all right, tell us another one movie.
Either he's an angel, he's a ghost, whatever, right?
The answer is somehow even stupider than you were probably picturing.
So,
I cannot wrap my head around what the actual answer to this is.
But there's a part where she puts she drops off the Christmas tree, falls on the wall, is all sad, goes next door just to say, "I love you" to the body laying in bed.
To the comatose man.
So bizarre.
Yes. Kind of a weird thing to happen, but also she's at her lowest point right now, so maybe she just wanted to say it one more time
to someone who's not her mother.
Yeah, sorry I cut you off.
Yeah, it's okay. No, I'm just saying, say I love you to someone who's not her Alzheimer-ridden mother.
Yeah. I guess it's generous.
So yeah, she goes to jump off a pier, and who should appear next to her but Robin Williams? He says, like, well, I can't swim, but if you jump off the pier, I gotta go in after you and save you, because that's the right thing to do, and ho-hum, I'm just such a nice guy who's alone on Christmas. Let's bond together. Yeah.
And he offers up the fact that he used to be a priest, and he made no friends in like the entire time that he was a priest. I mean, priests have friends. Priests have like
he left the priesthood.
He did.
He left the priesthood,
Or was that just because?
And he left the priesthood because all of his priest friends went with him. Like you know how it is. Like you have a job, and like your entire friend group is just like within that job, and then you leave that job, and you're just all like, damn, I don't know that many people.
Yeah, he gets caught in the text thread.
That's what happens. Too.
Maybe it's like he regrets not having a family because he's got to be celibate when you're in the priesthood.
Right. So I don't know. He's got nobody. And
So they bond over their shared misery, and she's like, "Oh, I just hope I survive the night," and he says, "I just hope someone's with me when I die." And
that tees us up for, I want to say, Susan Sarandon's 5th coffee date of the night. Night's still going. Susan's still awake.
I mean, if she's on like her 4th or 5th coffee date, like we know she's up.
Yeah,
we know
she's not going to bed.
She's not sleeping anytime soon. Yeah. And then she, I guess they were like going out to somewhere, but then on the cab ride there, Robin Williams gets like chest pains or something, so Susan Sarandon offers up her apartment.
Mm-hmm.
So
second time she's brought a man home there tonight.
Right.
He's got more tact than the first guy.
He certainly
my heart. We should go to your apartment.
That's a good move. Faking a heart attack to get into a woman's apartment.
It's okay. He's a priest. I'm too old for him.
Oh,
so
boom.
Yeah. So they go and they just, I don't know. They have like a nice conversation, and they
watching a fireplace
on TV,
on VHS,
and they fall asleep in Susan's bed, but like over the covers, like
head to feet,
head to feet type situation, all perfectly innocent. And then when they wake up in the morning, Robin Williams professes his love to Susan, but like in a way that you get she's maybe kind of misconstruing the point of what he's trying to actually say to her. Like he's being very glib.
Well,
he's not really saying what he means. kids.
He mentions that your mother told me to tell you that she loves you, and she's
why would he know that?
Yeah. So she labels him a crazy person, and she throws him out.
Why would he know that?
Because he's magic. Well, outside of the fantasy of what.
Yeah, but I think at the time
that,
I figured maybe the mom has died, and he's saying go to the never mind.
Yeah, that would make a little more sense.
We have to get. I think I have an answer to that, but I think we have to.
Sure,
we have to get to the
end. We'll discuss it when we get there
of this arc here.
Okay, let's go back to Jules for a second.
No, excuse me. His name is Broken Hand Man.
Let's go back to Broken Hand Man.
Yeah.
So he and his friend go to this abandoned amphitheater.
The pivotal scene where his hand gets broke.
Yeah,
that's where Arizona lives.
By the director.
Hands. Yeah, so there's Chaz Palminteri as Arizona, who's just like this drifter biker or whatever who has an entire stage to himself. Yeah, who's just camping out there. I don't know if he's just in town or if that's where he lives.
He feels like he should be a Fagin character. He should have an army of like street urchins.
It was very theatrical though, his entrance.
Yeah, and
it's a weirdly theatrical introduction to a character that goes on to do nothing. We don't even see him break his hand, and that all happens off screen. And it's just all Did you watch the final cut of this, Chaz? And he's all you know what? Let's be.
Yeah.
It's rare for a director to do that. It's all you know what? We don't need that other scene of Arizona.
It's so interesting.
But the character doesn't make any sense without it. You know what? Cut it!
It's so crazy how, his trade is breaking people's hands. He even asks Broken Hand Man, whose hands you want me to break? And he says, mine. And Chaz has this look on his face who's like, I've broken a lot of people's hands, but there's something different about you, kid. What's really troubling? What's going on here? And I thought maybe, the next scene would have them, sitting on a couch, just discussing his lot in life. Why do you want to be in the hospital on Christmas? Yeah. No, apparently he just goes and does it.
So is that the easiest way to get into the hospital for a night?
Do a slip and fall or something.
Yeah. Mental illness, I don't know.
Or just, complain about chest pains or something. I don't know, just get in there for a little while, have yourself some egg.
Oh, I think I hurt my ankle or my wrist or something. Can you give me some X-ray?
I actually broke my hand.
Yeah, it's got to be legit. They can tell at a hospital if you're faking.
Well, but they can also tell when you're faking when you come in with a self-inflicted injury, which is exactly what happens to this guy.
They flag it immediately.
Yeah, because it's the same nurse on
You're the guy that wanted to party, aren't you?
Yeah.
I think he just wants the Christmas party we do in pediatrics.
Yeah.
So surprise. And then Christmas at the hospital sucks.
And then we get our second almost assault of the movie when Jules is all you know what? This whole thing's been a bust. Maybe I'll just go home. And then the hospital staff just we're not going to let you leave now because we think you're a danger to yourself. And he doesn't take the news terribly well.
No. He's got what he wanted in the hospital at Christmas, and now he wants to get as far away from him as possible. The security, the orderlies and security guys detain him or whatever.
Well, but also there's no Christmas party because as soon as he comes in, there's a 5-car pileup or something, and everyone is all well, I guess there won't be a Christmas party now. Yeah, because you're in the hospital, jackass.
Yeah.
This is where people come when they're hurt. What did you think? He didn't think. That was the problem.
Yeah. Well, let's take this opportunity right now to talk about the male nurse.
Oh, Billy Porter.
Yes.
In what has to be one of his first acting roles.
I would think so.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, at this point in the movie, Paul Walker has taken Alan Arkin, and he just wants to check in on him because he's not family. They're not letting him see him. But Billy Porter, he incorrectly assumes that they're a couple, that he's Alan Arkin's gay lover. So,
it's the worst kind of gay panic. It's the type of gay panic that is propped up by an actual gay character misunderstanding what should be a very recognizable situation. There's no reason.
There's no way to recognize that Alan Arkin thinks Paul Walker is his reincarnated wife.
And there's also no reason to assume why Billy Porter, an obvious gay character, would think that these two are a couple.
I really appreciate you doing this.
Oh, man, I'm glad I could help. I know hospital policy isn't always on our side. They can be a little stuffy. I remember when my lover got sick.
Hey, wait a minute. You made a mistake. Yeah, you're making the wrong assumption about Audie and I. I appreciate you bringing me up here and all, but the truth of it is we ain't a couple. As a matter of fact, I just met the guy the other day. He's a waiter and I ordered some coffee.
Oh, my God, that's how my parents met. My mother waited on my father only. He ordered a tuna fish sandwich and a ginger ale.
No, now look. I want to make it clear that...
Don't worry. Your secret's safe with me.
They give that character this, like, Belize from Angels in America kind of
Yes.
depth. He's in 2 scenes where he's just like, I got you, don't worry.
Yeah.
Like, no, we don't need any of this.
I'm
like,
telling you, I'm not gay. And he's like, okay, sure, you're not, honey. And he's like, yeah.
It is also the second gay representation. One is a Christmas tree decorator, and one is a male nurse. Just
Now-
throwing that out there.
Back in the early 2000s, was Christmas tree decorator just not what they called gay people?
They still do in Hallmark.
I don't know about him, but he
Yeah.
seems. I think he decorates some Christmas trees, if you know what I'm saying.
I've auditioned to be Christmas tree decorator 3 times this year, so...
And even, like, it seems like he's so extreme that even at the point where, like, you know, when the cop buddy says to Paul Walker the background info on Alan Arkin, he's like, all right, thanks, buddy, Merry Christmas, and they go for a hug. And, like, even then, Billy Porter's like, whoa, 2 men hugging.
I didn't see anything.
Whoa, you guys have the room.
He's saving it for his memoirs.
Like, men can't even hug without, like, another gay man assuming that they're lovers.
2004 was a wild time.
It was.
It was a wild time for gay characters in movies clearly written by straight men. Yes.
Which plot do we want to? Do we have to jump back to now?
Does that wrap up Broken Hand?
Well, Broken Hand has to talk to the psychiatrist, who's another great character actor, Carmen Ejogo, Coretta Scott King, and Selma, and like one of the Alien movies, like a whole bunch of like great stuff. Just has like this one scene thing where she's just like this psychiatrist. And Jules explains, like, I wanted to go to the hospital because my stepfather used to beat my mom, and then, like, one year I told him to stop, and he broke my nose, and that was the best Christmas I ever had in the hospital with a broken nose, even though my mom didn't come, and I haven't talked to my mom in, like, 10 years or something, and just...
And she's like, call your mother.
Yeah!
I wish it was just a beat, and she's like, you don't understand why this is happening? You just explained it to yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that wraps that plot up.
Insanity.
We don't see him call his mom.
Nope.
It is inferred that he probably called his mom and had an all right conversation, even though it sounds like they have a ton of baggage to sort through.
The next time we see him, it's daytime and he's leaving the hospital.
He's leaving the hospital. He has like a look on his face. I'm not even going to say like a nice look. It's just a look.
Yeah.
He's still got a fucking broken hand.
Broken hand.
It is how every plot ends, though, in this movie.
Truly,
it is kind of
truly.
melancholy, like, I guess this is how it would really end.
Yeah.
But this plot is so superfluous
Oh, yeah.
to everything that happens.
If there had been one edit of this movie, this entire plot would have been taken
And the
out.
fact that it wraps up with zero conclusion and doesn't end up tying into any of the other stories in any significant way, you're just going, why was this here? Why did they get this actor who's not a name actor?
Don't you think Chaz Palminteri was like, I gotta be in this movie, and I play handbreakers, so I'm not gonna break Penelope Cruz's hand.
Yeah. Paul Walker, or maybe, but you know, like, I don't know, so like, yeah.
How about a guy who's known for having no hand in an earlier movie?
There you go. Yeah. And then that wraps up one of our
4 storylines.
So our 3 storylines. Yeah. And then
Paul Walker goes back to Penelope Cruz, says, I've learned the value of love, or whatever the fuck.
I spent an amazing evening as a woman, and it changed my life.
I now know what it means when other men are attracted to you.
I know what it was like. I know what it's like to be ogled all the time, to only be seen for my beauty. I get it now.
He's just slightly improved his gaydar by about 2%, and now he's like, now I'll know when they're gay.
Now I'll know when they're gay.
That's right.
Alan Arkin, not gay. This is good information to have. Because before I thought.
I can promise I won't hit any more.
Every
of your
once in
gay
a while,
friends.
a man could be gay. He could be a tree decorator or a male nurse.
From now on, I'm only pushing real gays.
Yeah.
None of these fake, none of these false gays.
And Penelope Cruz is pregnant, and they get back together.
Oh my god!
Yay.
And
the end of this plot, nothing is sadder than this storyline. Where you're like, even her, but she played. They don't even play it in a way that like, I'm pregnant. Oh my god, it's gonna work. And they're all smiling. She's like, I'm pregnant. I guess we got to stay together.
I give them a year and a half.
All right.
Yeah. He's not going to be at the family thing Christmas next year.
His
I'll tell you that.
It's sadder than them having just not gotten back together by the end of it. or her breaking up with him, and that's how it ends. To stay together because she's pregnant with this horrible man?
Well, and also
my
he
God.
I guess, came to like a holiday revelation, and he's learned the. I mean, know he did it, but that's what the movie wants us to.
And if he did, she certainly didn't. She's got so many reservations about this. Yeah, it's only because like she's got his kid now that they decide to stick together.
Wait till he meets her wedding dress designer. It will be black eyes.
There's going to be a couple of caterers noticing her.
I'm just going to warn you in advance, they love hugging.
Yeah.
I'm just going to tell you now.
Your waist.
I'm going to tell you now. So you know. And then, Robin Williams inexplicably leaves behind his cross.
His crucifix.
His crucifix necklace. Is that what you call it? A necklace? It's on like a chain. Oh, no, it's a cross on a chain.
Sure,
he leaves it behind. And
Susan Sarandon says, like, I better go take this back to him. He's probably at the hospital visiting the man in the hospital bed.
He's probably at the only other place I've ever seen him.
And so she goes to the nurse, and he's like, I'm looking for Robin Williams. And he's like, what are you talking about?
Robin Williams has never existed.
He's been here the whole time.
12 years.
No, he visits the man. Like, no one comes to visit this man. No, I insist that I've seen him.
There was a man sitting in that chair yesterday. Well, yes, but he was uncredited, though. So
that's right, yeah. He doesn't appear.
That doesn't count. He doesn't appear in this movie.
Yeah.
We can't mention him, otherwise we have to pay him.
Yeah. So, but yeah, she goes into the room, and who should be in the hospital bed but Robin Williams?
Well, because we've been calling them by their actor names. His name is Charlie Boyd. And so he introduces himself as Charlie Boyd, and Susan Sarandon says to the nurse, like, no, like, this guy's friend was here, his name is Charlie Boyd. And the nurse goes, no, the man in the bed is Charlie Boyd. And then we get, because the entire movie, the guy in the bed is just seen in shadows. And I mean, like, that's a huge reveal.
That's a huge tell right there.
Something's happening with this guy, because we haven't seen his face yet.
But there's no way that it's going to be Robin Williams. That'd be too stupid. Because how could he be there and there unless astral projection? And the nurse is like, you have the gift.
And let's get into this. Because he's maybe like a little bit older in the bed. Like he's worse for wear.
Yeah.
And like my assumption was that he was in a coma, but he opens his eyes when Susan comes to see him. So how was he a ghost? How was Ghost? Let's discuss this.
Let's talk about crucifix necklace is real. Because a lot of this could be justified by Susan Sarandon maybe invented this whole thing to comfort herself, or I don't know, or I genuinely misremembered the end of this movie because I think I rewrote it the way I wanted it to be.
It's very convoluted, to be fair.
If he had died in the bed, I don't know why the nurses wouldn't attend to him, and then was in the chair, and he's this like presence that saves her from killing herself and communicates with her mother. This would all kind of make sense in a Christmas movie context. That's not what happens.
That's the thing. So like Charlie's spirit leaves his body and is able to like wander around the hotel. I keep doing that. The hospital at will.
The gorgeous Hilton.
Well, it's because the one guy wanted to stay there because there's a party there.
Hard to get
in.
I
keep thinking that. So is he like talking to other people who are in similar situations? If so, why doesn't the mom appear to Susan Sarandon as like an out of body? Because if she has the gift, she can see it, because like clearly they're having conversations because the mom has clearly told Charlie to tell her daughter, move on, like don't spend your whole life taking care of me. I want you to be happy. Like how is he able to interact with Susan? How is he able to leave behind tangible items that she is able to like take with her? And
they share a cab together at one point, and they have a conversation in the back. Is the cab driver just assuming Susan Sarandon is talking to herself?
If there was a montage of her alone, alone drinking eggnog, watching a fire, just laughing to herself.
I mean, the problem is that they don't do enough. Like they're just on the pier, then they're in the cab, then they're in her house. Yeah, if they did like a bunch of stuff, that would be great. And
just solo on a carousel.
Yeah, exactly. Well, because it sets up for that, because she has a bad date at the beginning of the evening, and then you're like, oh, maybe I'll have like a better date with someone who's a little closer to my age.
And imaginary.
And imaginary, and also maybe a coma ghost. It's ill-defined.
But so then, what happens with Robin Williams? I genuinely don't remember.
No, I don't think...
He dies, because the only
he doesn't die.
He wakes up from the coma, but he wanted someone to be around. He didn't want to die alone. So.
I don't remember him passing. I just remember him waking up and making eye contact with Susan Sarandon. She says, "Hi, Charlie," and that's where we leave that. As is this movie's want.
I think you can
ending scenes in the middle of when
they
should.
I choose to believe, and I'm inferring that he did die through that because
he just woke up long enough to say thanks a lot.
Yeah, exactly. And come on, Robin Williams' real world death was sad enough and so abrupt. It was just nice to say goodbye to somebody you love in this context.
I think I jumped to the conclusion that he died because then they tee up the conclusion we've all been waiting for in this movie, which is for her to get together with the Doctor. The major Doctor character we've been rooting for this whole
Doctor,
time.
we've seen him in a handful of scenes. Who's played by John Doman, who plays a gangster on Gotham. If anyone has ever seen Gotham, yeah. But yeah, apparently we're really invested in the romance of Susan Sarandon's life. It's not enough that she can't just end the movie with a newfound sense of self-worth. No, she has to be tied to a man.
And also, it's like her assistant said, you just need some dick.
I don't think her assistant said that.
She was right.
It wasn't
It
inferred.
was pretty close.
It's time that you stop taking care of everybody else and start thinking about yourself. As my Nana used to say, what you need is...
I know. Someone to take care of me for change.
Wrong. What you need is sex. Good sex.
Your Nana said that?
I also Susan Sarandon walks in on him confessing his love to her mother, her comatose mother.
The Doctor is just feeding the mom, which is a big deal because the mom never eats.
Yeah.
So I guess, I don't know, maybe Robin Williams dropped by and it's all your daughter's going to come by and it's going to be a whole thing. So,
maybe put on a show for it.
Maybe take some applesauce.
Or maybe the mom's trying to set up Susan Sarandon, a doctor.
Hey, I like the sound of that.
Doctor. Well, because the final moment of the movie is the Doctor and Susan Sarandon set up this date, and as he leaves, she just kind of goes oh, he's a nice man, and her mother, who hasn't moved the entire movie, just kind of squeezes her hand, which is the one unironically nice moment from this movie. As the movie ends, it was kind of all okay.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm kind of a sucker for old bedridden people.
Way to stick the landing,
She was trying to break her hands so she could stay in the hospital forever.
Yeah. Get me the fuck out of here.
They have great parties.
I'm going to break your hand. There's going to be a party later. Trust me.
They call me Arizona.
That's the problem. He went on Christmas Eve. Christmas Day is the party day.
Oh my god, that would be hilarious.
He was a day early.
He's walking.
A conga line walks in.
Oh my god, he's walking out of the hospital. It's all well,
son of a bitch.
My arc is completed, and as he walks away like a
dun,
clown.
dun, 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 dun,
Oh my god.
Oh man.
Oh. That audio spiked. My god.
Oh boy.
The mom is just squeezing the hand. It's all doctor, honey. That's why I came back to let you know. It's all if you're gonna go.
This plot though had the most hope for an ending that was satisfying. They totally ruined it with the Robin Williams nonsense, and then the cherry on top of it was the weird Doctor. Again, it was just they all end with the same tone of oh, yeah, I guess we could guess how that actually ends.
Sure. I guess life will go on.
It made me yearn for a Hallmark ending where it's tie this up in a perfect bow.
They tried. It feels like this last minute Doctor thing, this them trying to tie it all together. It's all oh, Susan Sarandon didn't end up with anyone. She's gonna get dinner.
It gives you hope, I guess.
What character do we have left? This guy!
Yeah. But she's been on, 3 dates in the last 12 hours. She's not, wanting for company. She's met everybody in town.
One of them was not reciprocated, and the other one, he was non-tangible. So, that's the thing.
We take what we can get.
Do we ever see Robin Williams, touch Susan Sarandon or anyone? At any point? I feel like it's deliberately set up in a way, the way they're sleeping or whatever. And it's just the fact that he leaves a necklace behind, which she has to pick up and bring to a place. It was all all right, but it's also, if you're spending, the evening with somebody, and you spend the entire time and you don't, I don't know.
Ask them if they're alive.
Or at the very least, touch their shoulder or, give them a hand.
Even involuntary.
I do that every date I go on just to make sure they're real.
Well, you gotta make sure.
Yeah.
You gotta know. You gotta figure it out.
You're not in a coma in the hospital, are
right.
you? Okay.
question. Coma?
Or ghost?
Second question, priest?
Yeah.
I gotta
go. Ghost priest? Because that is a deal breaker. I'm going to tell you right now.
Now, was his, he didn't have a heart attack in the car, did he? He just was like...
He was complaining about, like, stomach troubles or
something. I don't know what
is that supposed to be... Are we supposed to, as an audience, look back and be like, oh...
Is that
he was dying?
Coma.
Yeah,
He's losing his link to his...
Yeah. It is weird
to his human form.
It struck me as very odd in the moment that the decision they make in that moment is like, let's just go to my apartment instead of a restaurant.
To dinner.
Anywhere else? Or a hospital, maybe? Yeah. And he's all like, nah, well, we just came from a hospital, to be fair.
Yeah.
I don't know. That was the moment when he was in the cat. That was the moment they were giving him a sponge bath. And they had to flip him over, and they just he was all like,
maybe it was a distance, like the further away he got from the hospital, like his tether would loosen, so like eventually he'd start fading. Like, do you live around here or something? Like within the next 3 blocks?
He's holding a cup of coffee and it just like materializes out of his hand. It's all like, oh, Butterfingers.
His eggnog's just splashing on the couch.
I mean, like this is Robin Williams with the whimsy knob turned down to like -1. Like
Truly.
he's fully in like pure dramatic mode.
Yeah,
I mean he's playing a very melancholic character.
Every character in this is melancholic.
Mm-hmm. But of course, that's why you drop in a little Robin Williams to your movie to bring the
levity,
the malaise.
Boy.
Exactly. We found out why Robin Williams was uncredited in Everyone's Hero. He didn't want to
overshadow Christopher Reeve.
He didn't want to overshadow Christopher Reeve because they were good friends and everything. He's all like, I'll do this, but I won't take any credit for it.
This is your movie.
This is your movie. I'm just going to do this as a favor. And then, of course, the movie took so long to come out 2 years after Christopher Reeve died.
Oh,
so yeah, it was a big mess. No idea why he didn't want credit for this movie.
I think because it's a piece of shit.
Other than poor quality.
He didn't want to trample Susan Sarandon's big break.
He didn't.
This movie made her.
He didn't want to divert the attention away from Chaz. This was Chaz's moment. Truly,
with Chaz as Arizona.
He should have been in the credits. He should have gotten the hammer and Chaz Palminteri as Arizona.
Yeah.
So the one thing that I want to say, this movie doesn't have like a ton of trivia on IMDb. The one really weird thing that I definitely is worth mentioning is that this was the very first launch title for Flex Play, which was a 48-hour non-returnable DVD disc that you rented. You had 2 days to watch it, and then after the 48 hours were over, the disc would literally turn black.
What?
It self-destructed like fucking Get Smart. So it's like the basic. This is not a thing anymore. I don't know like how many weeks this lasted for, but this was the first movie released on this format. So it's like the same basic idea as
this movie
as like your iTunes rentals today, but they've just added the element of litter. They've just added. It's like is there a way we can do this, but also just create more trash that people can just throw away?
If a friend told me they got this movie, explained the plot to me, and then the disc self-destructed, I'd be like,
can you imagine watching this morose piece of shit and not knowing that, and then after it's over, the movie shrivels up and dies on you?
Like, no, but Robin Williams
Holy
was in
shit.
it, and he was a priest who was in a coma, but
you gotta see this movie to believe me, and then you should wait. It was here. I swear to God, it was here.
You just open up the DVD case, just go. It's just a cloud.
It's a movie.
No one will believe you.
You couldn't make that shit up.
Oh man,
wild stuff.
And then you died a week later.
Yeah. Was there anything that happened in this movie that we didn't talk about?
Oh God, Christ Almighty.
There is a notable... eventually when I realized there was going to be a lot of homophobia, I started like a strike system. And I gave up after 4 strikes. And then they introduced the elderly Asian landlady who's trying to kick out Broken Hand. And it is like... maybe the most egregious stereotype besides the Christmas tree decorator in this movie.
I mean, I do always wonder about that type of stuff, whether it is an intentional stereotype or if that's just the actor that they happen to hire for that particular thing. Not that I'm trying to play devil's advocate for fucking Noel.
I could have started the My Strike system with the ethnic stereotype when they made Penelope Cruz dance for 3 minutes.
Sure, I mean, but it's not. I mean, it's not. She's not doing like a Mickey Rooney here or anything like that. She has like one line, and it's all like, "Pay your rent." Yeah.
One thing I wanted to bring up in the bar scene after Susan Sarandon wins the saddest Christmas contest, there's a news report about a suicide. And they described that it was like a woman who shot her husband, shot herself, and left a note that said like, I'm doing this for myself for once, or I'm doing something for myself for once.
Yeah.
So no matter which way you turn in this movie, there's a sad story attached to fucking everything.
Do they not allude to that inspiring her to then kill herself?
I feel like
oh my god!
I saw it as like this. They give her a shot of her like, oh, I guess I could kill myself. Like it is dark.
Jesus Christ!
That's
I never
how
made
I
that
read
connection.
It.
Oh my good lord! This movie.
I got nothing.
Yeah.
So Noel, does it have a certain something, or is it just a whole lot of nothing? Adam, why don't we start with you?
I thought it was a whole lot of nothing. I thought it was garbage. It is such a waste of really good actors. I think Susan Sarandon is such a good actor. She's so like likable. They're all really likable, but playing the most unlikable, like unfathomably just dark characters for a Christmas movie. Yeah, I just, who is this movie for?
Yeah.
To me, it seemed like this, like, amalgam of, they put a little bit in for everybody, and yet nobody. Like, the Penelope Cruz thing, that's a great example, because you're like, I get it, I'm fine, I'm a gay man, I'm fine watching Penelope Cruz dance for a couple minutes, but I'm like, I think these Christmas movies are made for adult women, mostly. Am I wrong? Maybe that's a stereotype, but like, there's moments like that, the hand-breaking stuff, the mob stuff, that I'm like,
the suicide attempts?
Who is this movie for? Yeah, it's very dark.
I think this movie believes it has some sentimentality to it, but
it tries its best.
I mean,
but it's so gut-wrenching at points.
It ends on this big swelling moment, and the camera like goes into the sky, and we can see all the snowflakes, and Alan Menken is actually putting in some effort for once on the screen. It's all like, da da da, aren't you charmed by this? And I'm just all like, no, you didn't earn this.
Not at
all.
all.
You did not earn this at all. Yeah.
It's the rare case where like a Christmas movie is not going to leave you feeling any kind of warmth or feelings of love to your fellow man or anything. It's so fucking dark and morose. This it doesn't have anything going for it at all, but it is just a miserable slug of a movie. And it's insane too. Like the whole Alan Arkin believing Paul Walker's his reincarnated love is, who came up with that shit? Just make him his long lost estranged father or something. God.
I mean, whole plot is a vein of comedy to it that all is derived from how gross is it that this old man likes this other dude. It's so uncomfortable.
I mean, that was my favorite part of the movie. That was my favorite plot. I'm very upset that they didn't follow it to its natural conclusion.
If that
There's a better movie within this movie.
100%.
Yeah. I will say I was the most captivated by that plot line.
I did write down, I was like, I hope this is just surface level what's happening. And Alan Arkin it like gives him a gift and the box is just like underwear. Like something you're like, oh, he's just a creepy guy.
I mean, with the advent of like so many Hallmark Christmas movies, I say the word Hallmark Christmas movies, that it doesn't necessarily just refer to movies that come out on the Hallmark channel. The Hallmark just means like your Christmas movie very much feels like a Hallmark Christmas movie, even 100%. Though it is not produced by them.
Correct.
They've just kind of narrowed
corner of the market.
You know, it's like tissues are called Kleenex. You know, that's just one brand.
Right.
You know,
well, it's a formula that really works.
Right.
I will say, I don't know, I think I'm allowed to say this in defense of CBS. It is like a Hallmark movie, but CBS has some freedom to do diversity more correctly. I play a gay character in it with a fully fleshed out gay storyline that does not include any form of abuse or laughing at
there you
characters,
go. Fantastic.
Which is wonderful.
Full marks.
Yeah. But no, it's a formula that works, and that's why they churn out literally hundreds of these movies every year.
Well, the Christmas movies are in general do feel like they're getting like a slightly more progressive. I feel like last year there were like 3 notable like gay romance movies that all came out back to back. Every once in a while they let 2 people of a different race have like a romantic entanglement, and you're just kind of all like, ooh, how spicy. Yeah. Fucking grandma's all like, all right, I'm being woke.
I'm being open-minded. Yeah. But for movies like that, I mean, they tend to have the criticism of being like designed by committee, or there's like a whole lot of producers having some influence. So we gotta inject this in that just to appease like these demographics. I think if you don't do something like that and you just allow crazy people to create their own Christmas movies, you end up with something like Noël.
100%.
But with the advent of all of like the Hallmark Christmas movies, we have started seeing a lot more Christmas parody movies that are popping up. When just going through like the plot of this movie, the skeleton of what happens in this film, we could have like a real sort of like 0-hour airplane situation on our hands here, where we could take the bare bones of this movie and just build up the comedy in it. Have Paul Walker and Alan Arkin end up together. Have Susan Sarandon bang a ghost. Who cares? And he's a priest, and it's the first time it's ever happened to him. I don't know. Dude, give Arizona 5 more scenes.
Yeah.
You know, like, I don't know.
Follow Broken Hand Man as he tries to injure himself around town so he can get into...
There's more hospitals to go
maybe
to.
he keeps injuring himself and the hospital keeps turning him away because you're just here to party.
And have his name be Broken Hand Man. Be brave.
Yeah.
You're right, though. Noel needs like a Wayans Brothers treatment. A whole new franchise.
All right, well.
Well, that's it. Adam, thanks so much for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks for being here, man.
Please take this opportunity to plug all your various things.
Oh boy, well, my last name's hard to spell, but I'm Adam Beauchesne on... Oh no, I'm not. I'm Beauchesne on Instagram. I'm Adam Beauchesne on Twitter.
Oh, you're leading with the last name. That's good. You're forcing people to learn.
You know, I got what I thought was going to be a good handle, and then I remembered my last name's impossible to spell. Just so I've said it, Beauchesne.
And I always have so much respect for actors with interesting names that make the choice to be all like, no, you know what? Fuck you. You learn how to spell this. You know, like you're Željko Ivanex and you're
I'm Scoot McNairy, not Scott McNairy.
Right. Say it right, goddammit.
It also gives me an excuse when my career goes nowhere to be like, well, that was my last name now.
Right. That was what the feeling.
No
your career isn't going nowhere though. You're in so many cool things. Yeah.
I'm excited about this. The Must Love Christmas is a good, like I was saying before, it's as progressive as these Christmas movies can get right now. And I shouldn't be critical of Hallmark, not only because they have my career in their hands.
Don't bite the hand that feeds you, man.
With the news of, and I will speak out openly about this, do you guys know what the Great American Family Network is?
Oh, Candace Cameron Bure bullshit?
So I'm happy to cut ties with anything to do with that. But now there is almost like a even more right-wing party in the whole grand scheme of Christmas movie networks that really makes Hallmark seem almost even left of center.
Well, it does feel like the second Hallmark got like an inch more progressive, you know, just like a drop in the bucket of like progressive, of just like letting everyone be like human beings. This is when the splinter cell of fucking Candace Cameron was all like, no, we're gonna double down on
hard overreaction.
Yeah, exactly.
And I did get to play a gay character in a Hallmark movie just a month ago. Was I a baker? Yes. But, you know, I wasn't
in Hallmark land, there's only 3 jobs that gay men can have: Christmas tree decorator, baker,
male nurse,
and wedding dress designer happened last year
and Billy
for me.
Porter. Exactly. Yeah. Well, those are the Christmas movies, unless it's like a Christmas wedding. Yeah. Which I'm sure there's like 18 Christmas wedding movies.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes. No, thank you for having me. This was awesome.
Oh,
I unfortunately had to watch the movie Noël, but I learned a lot. It never even crossed my path. This was a brand new surprise.
Hey, that's what we do. That's the whole purpose of this show. We shine a light on the movies that slip through the cracks.
It was lovely.
We invited you to this episode because you're in a Christmas movie, and we wanted to do one more Christmas episode, but. Open invitation. If there is an actor that you love talking about, or just like you've watched a lot of, and you want to come back and you want to do the most random, obscure movie in that actor's career, open invitation. You can come back whenever you want. Give it some thought.
Sure.
Great. But that will do it for 2022.
Yeah, that's it.
We did it. We
got
rebranded.
a year in the bank.
We rebranded the podcast. We got a
finally.
We did it. It only took us 3 years, but we got there eventually. The podcast used to be called "The Fuck Is This," and then
and surprisingly, no sponsors came a knocking.
after 3 years, we realized having the word "fuck" in the title makes it
tends to hurt our search results on Google.
It's really hard to search for the show.
Yeah, type in "the fuck is this" in any internet history.
Not so much, but we did it.
Yeah,
and
that's it for the year.
And next year, more of this.
Who knows what 2023 will bring?
Will there be more structure?
Probably not.
No.
We've done this long enough to realize there'll probably be less structure.
Will we be releasing more episodes than twice a month? Definitely not. We do this on our spare time, and it's all we can do, and we're
make it by the skin of our teeth sometimes.
Yep, and on equipment that basically works. It's the bare minimum.
That's right. This laptop may as well be gas powered.
But thank you for being with us this year. It's been lovely. Thank you to all of our guests. I should have written out their names, but hey, what a great opportunity for you to go back and listen to all of our other episodes, and then you can find out
what their names are.
What their names are, because we wrote them down. But that's it. I don't know. Do you have anything you want to add? To this year?
Thank you, Podstream Studios and Joel and Luke there for letting us use the studio space. It's always a great time going there. We'll be back there sometime in the new year.
We will, whenever it's convenient for all of us. And as always, we thank Eddie Lamb for his fantastic theme music. You can follow us on all of the social medias, because we're on those. We're on Instagram, we're on Facebook, Twitter. As of this recording is still a thing.
Yeah.
It seemed like for a while maybe it wouldn't be, but it is clinging on to life. So we'll post updates about the shows there. And that was Noël. It was directed by Chaz Palminteri. And this has been Nothing Movies, and I'm Kaz.
And I'm Jameson, and I'll leave you with these parting words from the movie. If there's not going to be a party, I'm going to leave.
All right, I'm gonna eat this bagel that I just remembered you bought for me 2 hours ago.
It's cinnamon flavored.
Oh,
yeah.
Is there butter or is there cream cheese on it?
No, neither.
All right, well, this is going.
Merry Christmas, Kaz.
A dry bagel my true love gave to me.